His final message: goodbye. This is the story about the most emotional call I've ever taken. I work at an ISP as a Tier 2 representative for tech support. Essentially, one of the jobs I have is programming calling features. This call in particular happened about a month ago. A ticket had came to my queue about a customer having trouble accessing her voicemails. Dug deeper and found it was full as well. No problem. There were some programming errors, which I fixed and called the customer, who will be known as Sweet Elderly Woman SEW. So, hello, me, intro, verification. So, I am calling because you reported an issue with your voicemail today. So, oh yes. Is it fixed? Me, yes. It should be. I found that your box is full. It has maximum amount of messages in it. So, dear, I'd hate to be a bother, but could I get you to go in and delete them for me? We have a way of accessing the messages if the customer cannot, doesn't want to, etc. Me, absolutely. Oh, yes please. She thanks me and I hang up to go access the messages. Knowing full well that this is going to take at least 15 minutes, I go and read Wikipedia articles as the messages are playing. I eventually reach the last message and it catches my attention. I stopped reading, listened to it, began tearing up and saved it in her box. I compose myself before calling back. So, hello, me, hi. It's /u/divdavo1919 again. I listened to all the messages and deleted them all except for one. Oh thank you, sweetheart. Why did you leave one? Me, so, I think you should listen to it. So, okay, dear. I gave her time to listen to the message and called her back. She was crying when I called her back. It was then I learned the story. The message was from her husband, who had passed away due to brain cancer 3 days after he left the message. It was him saying goodbye and that he loves so much and he's never felt more alive all the years she spent with him. So was crying because he was deceased by the time she got to the hospital and had not heard his voice. She said I gave her part of herself back that she'd lost when he passed away. She thanked me and we disconnected the call. Edit: to answer some of the comments I am seeing, no, I do not have to listen to them, but I explain crystal clear that the messages will start playing and I will hear who they're from. This person had the same last name as her, which is why I listened to it and saved it. Edit 2. Wow. Gold. Thank you so much. I think my heart just grew a little reading this story. Well done, Op. And LT3. Thank you. Mark this cheesecake NSFW. Jesus, I can't be seen in this state here. This reminds me of a time when I worked at a will not be named big box tech support company. I was working the counter alone one slow night when a middle-aged woman walks up with an old answering machine under her arm. It was one of those machines that recorded the message on tape, and the machine clearly had seen better days. When I greeted her, "Hi, welcome to so-and-so. How may I help you?" she replied, with almost tears in her eyes, "Do you guys have the capability to convert a tape recording to MP3? I replied that we did not, but would be happy to do a little research for her to maybe find a local place. She replied, still teary-eyed, "I would greatly appreciate the help. My mom passed away a few months ago and her voice on this tape is the last I have of her." I promptly went to the back and asked the guy working back there if he knew of any places. He was more familiar with local tech support places than I was. He knew right away where to send her. So he came out front, had a brief discussion with her, and printed out directions to the place for her. We sent her on her way with best wishes that they could help her out. We never saw or heard from her again, but I really do wish they saved her mom's voice for her. I worked at a cell phone repair shop and had a similar issue arise. An elderly couple had been keeping their dead son's phone active for something like a year. They called me up asking if I could record/retrieve the recording of his "You have reached my" voicemail message. I went and bought some special cables and stuff in order to do the job, but he never answered his phone when I called to let him know I was able to perform the task. Still feel sad thinking about it. Cheesecake. I'm sorry. These are the all too rare moments that make support worthwhile. I fixed it. I want the free food promised to me, Mom. My mom is sweet, but she has this notion she shouldn't bother me unless it's important. My phone rang last week while I was home. Day off. And GT, Mom, do you have a minute honey? My internet doesn't work, either computer, nor the tablet either. I was thinking maybe you could come have dinner later and look at it? I bought chicken, soft cheese, wine, and I'm baking a. Somewhere later down the menu I already fixed it. I work at the telco, and have access to my tools remotely. I saw it had no valid IP, so I reset the modem and the router we provide her. Basic lease renewal issue. It happens, everything else is green. And GT, Byte Wave, boom, magic, your online mom. And GT, mom, wow, oh, you're right. Sounds disappointed. Thank you, that was really fast. I guess I won't trouble you to come over then. Clearly she was more excited at the prospect of the meal than the free tech support, but for her it seems something broken or a holiday is required to trouble me to hang out. And GT, Byte Wave, hey there, I was promised a home-cooked meal here. I'm happy to come anyway. And GT, mom, that's fine, it's nice of you to be polite. But I know you're busy, you don't have to. We can do this another time. Okay, let's do this the easy way. Reach back to the tools, deprovision the router. And GT, Byte Wave, there, it's broken again mom. And it'll stay that way till dessert. And GT, mom, oh. Lovely then, shall we say 6 o'clock? Cheerful. All of Byte Wave's tales on TFTS. She has her quirks, but if you tasted her food you wouldn't pass it up either. As for devices randomly losing IPs because their dynamic lease fails to renew, we're finally trying to ensure it gets detected and corrected automatically sometime this decade. He looks at them. Came here for hardened tech support stories. Stayed for the feels. Did you just go against union rules, steal a client from Tier 1 support, and talk directly to a client? Nice, someone's paying attention. Yep, even though I was off clock, since I used telco tools I wasn't supposed to. But I'm not going to have frontline call my mom back. It's a two-way rule in theory, but in practice union people skirting it a bit is a minor offense. If management tells us to skirt it, it's a huge issue. Up is a good son. On one hand, abuse of power. On the other, far more important hand, family time and home-cooked food. Good call, I would have done exactly the same. Power is no fun if you can't abuse it. A little smile. It was mostly a joke, of course I'd have put it back on either way. In which a doctor understands how IT works. Standard disclaimer, not IT, I just know how to Google things. I have a very good friend who is a doctor. Sometimes ask him for tips on health-related things, and he often comes to me for technical, mechanical advice. It wasn't always this way, though. Near the beginning of our friendship, an incident happened involving an iPhone 3Gs, back when it first came out, that really helped pave the way for understanding between the two of us over the phone. And GT, doc, hey, I'm having some problems with my iPhone, can you help? And GT, me, sure, are you on it right now? And GT, doc, no, I'm calling from my landline. And GT, me, okay, great, what's the problem? And GT, doc, it's not working. And GT, me, yes, go on. And GT, doc, I just said it's not working. And GT, me, is it not turning on? Is it not being responsive? And GT, doc, it's on, just not working. I thought you knew iPhones. At this point, I was starting to lose my patience. And GT, me, okay, imagine I called you up. You can't see me, but you want to help me. And all I'm willing to say is that it hurts. But I refuse to tell you what hurts, where it hurts, how it hurts, and what I was doing before it started hurting. All I'm telling you over the phone is that it hurts, and I'm getting impatient with you. How would you feel? And GT, doc, defensive, I'd assume you didn't understand biology and would ask a few diagnostic questions to narrow it down. And GT, me, I just told you it hurts. I thought you knew about medicine. And GT, doc, how can I help you if you won't tell me what actually hurts? And GT, me, exactly my point. That was a come to Jesus moment for my friend, and he started being a bit more descriptive. I also would later hear from him that he ended up being an IT liaison at his hospital since he was able to more accurately describe problems to the IT help desk than his colleagues. Edit, first, Thanks to /u/JackImfit for the gold. Second, a few of you mentioned this story sounds familiar. There are a few reasons that might be. I told this story in shortened form in the comments here and on other forums, likely on Fark.com, in years past. Other people have also used very similar analogies. A combination of the above, and I've stripped out a lot of the idiosyncratic parts of the conversation that only two friends would have, but bears little relevance to the conversation, talking about cars, talking about how miserably hot the weather was, talking about how jealous I was that he managed to get to 3G so quickly, etc. IT liaison was how I started down the path that led me to where I am now. Not much has changed. That's a great story. Well done. Thanks. Oh, and the issue with his phone was a bad SIM card. This was when iPhones were all carrier locked to AT&T. He was on Singular, I think? And he thought he could just swap SIMs. I have tried the same approach with my co-workers. I work in insurance and they just tell me it isn't working. I ask them to expand on that, but it generally fails, so I started asking them to get me some insurance real quick. Well, what kind? There is a lot. I said insurance. It isn't that hard, just tell me how much it is. What kind? They start getting mad. I figured you knew how to deal with this, just quote me. Can't without more information. And I can't help you without information as well. Some of them get it. Most don't. If they manage to send in a ticket, an email, it is usually just a subject of help and nothing in the body. And GT, some of them get it. Most don't. If they manage to send in a ticket, an email, it is usually just a subject of help and nothing in the body. Reply to the ticket with help by the Beatles. You've provided them with help. As someone who does technical support for medical devices, I want your friend to be my regular caller now. I really hate being told it's not working, asking for an error message and being told, oh, I don't know what it said, I closed it and it still won't work. It gets even better. My doctor friend, truly an intelligent person, grasped that IT can only diagnose situations the same way a doctor can diagnose an ailment, by observation. So if his colleague has a problem with their computers but clears the error message, my friend will try and repeat the steps to get the error message again. He says that 9 times out of 10, the error message doesn't come up and the colleague is able to complete her task. So there's a double boon of IT seeing reduced workload. Doctor, what seems to be the problem? Patient, I stabbed myself in the stomach and now my intestines are hanging out. Doctor, okay, well, why don't you take your shirt off so I can take a look? We'll start by removing the knife. Patient, no. Don't change anything, I have the knife set up just the way I like it. I just want you to fix my intestines, you incompetent quack. Patient dies. Patient's wife, what did you do, doctor? He was alive when I dropped him off. You must have done something to him.